Spring crappie fishing is a sure way to cure cabin fever. Up next, Jon shares float fishing tactics to help you find and catch the most panfish possible.
See if we can get this one. Got him that time. Missed a couple to start the day, and you know, a lot of times that's nothing more than just a bite not being super hard. And that'll happen. I don't know what we got here. Yeah, we got a good crappie. Good. That's exactly what we're looking for to start right here. Just a great crop. But this is what'll happen. We're on fish, and these are crappies that are biting me. But what's happening is they're biting and dropping. And the reason they're biting and dropping is actually really simple. It's early enough in the morning that they're a little bit lethargic still. Look at that. That's a great crappie right there. That's exactly what we're out chasing today. Awesome fish. You know, this is absolutely some of my favorite time of the year. And I think part of it is that, you know, as I'm waiting for the walleye season to open here in Minnesota, I just love getting out on the water and getting out and catching some fish like that. Not only are they great table fare and just a ton of fun to catch, but man, it gets rid of that cabin fever. It gets me out on the water and it gets me to get out and enjoy a day like today on the water versus waiting for opener. Awesome crappie. We're gonna throw a few in because we're gonna keep a few for dinner. But I'll tell you what, that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna catch a bunch of fish like that. We're gonna talk about exactly how to get them at this time of the year because it's not as simple as you think. I mean, a lot of times we like to think you just blow in and start catching them in the spring. It's not really like that. Sometimes there's a little bit of work that goes into it, and I'm gonna explain to you how I found this spot, what is so special about this spot, and why fish like that one right there are living right up in there right now, or actually just taking up quick residence to eat. Throw him in. We'll get back in the water, see if we can find us another one. Fish bit it a little bit more aggressive than a couple of the bites that I've missed this morning. And that's a really good sign. When all of a sudden a fish gets a little bit more aggressive, he snapped it down a little bit instead of just that slow pull. A lot of times what that means is we might be hitting that point where they're getting ready to get aggressive and get going here now. There he goes, just popping it. There he goes. Down and under. Ooh, that's a good one. This is a good one. I'll tell you right now, I can see him a long ways away. He hit the surface way out there. It's a good one. It's a really good fish. This is what we're after. You know what's happening? Some of these better fish are starting to bite. And I suppose it could be a couple things, okay? Could be the fact that we're on the back end of that storm now. And all of a sudden, you know, the little ones got their turn this morning. Look at that one. That's an awesome crop. I don't care where you go. That's an awesome crappie right there. But what it might be is all of a sudden these fish are just turning on, or the little guys got their turn and now all of a sudden these bigger ones are just finally getting more aggressive. That's awesome right there. Let me tell you a little bit about this spot. What makes this special? There's boats all around this bay right now and I'm not seeing many fish caught. There's something special about where I'm sitting and I want to explain it because if you can find this, it's going to make a big, big difference for you in your fishing, okay? What's happening is I've got some weeds right up in here and I'm actually gonna bait up and get back in the water while we talk about this because all of a sudden we got a little bit of a bite going and while that window's open, I don't wanna miss it. But what's happening here is we got a little bit of weed growth up in here. And there's not weed growth along this whole shoreline. There's just a little bit of weed growth right up in here. What it's doing is it's holding these fish and it's giving them cover. And they're laying in these weeds and they're ambushing it. So what I'm doing is I'm setting the boat out here in about 6 feet of water and I'm casting up into what I figure is about 4. And there's weeds that come up and I can see, when I put my polarized glasses on, I can see some of the clumps out here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cast close to those clumps of weeds because these fish, they're just laying right in those weed beds, right in these clumps of weeds. And you know what? A crappie's always looking for cover, you know, be it from shade, be it to sit in and then ambush bait, or be it to sit in to hide from predator fish, and that's what it is. So if you go down that shoreline, it gets kind of sandy, different, open, wide open type bottom. Same that way, but right in this area, I've got some weeds. So that's why I was looking for this area. I actually drove this whole thing looking at my sonar unit until I found an area where there's some cover for them, some weeds. And I'll tell you what, you find that and you've got a gold mine, because now here we are in a backwater where the water's warming up. You've got some weeds to hold them. And then all of these other boats around me that are fishing just kind of wide open, they're not fishing cover. And there's so many of those fish in this cover that I can sit and just pick on them. If I had 2 or 3 guys in the boat today, we'd be smashing them. I mean, we'd be catching them super fast. I mean, there's just so many fish right in here, and they're congregated from about a 45 degree off the back to about a 45 degree off the front. And that's what I'm fishing here. I'm just casting right into those weeds. There he goes. Kind of a different cast there. Ooh, that's a good one. Yep, that's a good crop. I can see it from here. This is a good one. That's a different cast. You know, I'll do a lot of that, where all of a sudden I'll just fire a different direction, because sooner or later what happens with a lot of these fish is they'll just move a little. They won't move a lot, but they'll move just a little, and just enough that if you're not casting out around the boat, that's a great fish right there. We'll take that all day long. But if you're not flinging out in different spots all around the boat, what begins to happen is you just miss fish. You just have fish like that one right there that might have been back there where you were catching them just a few minutes ago, and all they've done is reposition. And if you're not moving that bait around and looking for the, you know, where that fish might have moved to, you'll never know. He didn't move far. He moved probably 20 yards, but he put himself in a position where for a long time I wasn't fishing for him. Once I cast over there, I was back on him. It's a great fish. Let me get this guy unhooked, and then I want to show you what I'm using, because it's really simple. A couple different things I do at this time of the year. Number one, I'm float fishing because I want to be able to suspend baits in there on top of fish where they have some time to look at it. That's a great crop right there. Perfect. So I'm using a float, and what I'm using today is a Thel crappie cork. And the reason I'm using this crappie cork is because it's balsa. It's made of the best balsa in the world. And what it does is it enables me to see every bite. So when a crappie comes up and just lifts it a little bit, the float will actually tip a little bit. The flotation and the balance in this thing is phenomenal. A couple cool things about the crappie cork though. You can use it as a slip float like I'm using it today, or it's got a spring on the bottom. So you can use it as a spring float as well. So when you buy this crappie cork, no matter what situation you're fishing, you're going to be able to use it. And then the other thing that I think is really neat is it's printed with the weight it'll suspend right on the side of the float. So today I'm using the 16th ounce size. So I know I can put a 16th ounce weight below this float. I'm going to be able to float it. It's just awesome. The balance is perfect. And that's so important, especially when you're on a bite like this that is really, really finicky. I mean, it's a fickle bite today. So you don't want them to feel that float, and you want to be able to see everything. And that's why a balsa float is so important. And that's, you know, when it comes down to it, Phil just makes the best balsa float there is, period. I mean, there's been a lot of companies copy it. When it comes down to it, the Phil float's the best one on the market. Let's get baited up. Let's get back in there. That's a good one. Let's see if we can stack up a little pile of those. That's a great fish right there. One of the things you see me do quite often if you were sitting in the boat with me for a whole day is I don't do as much moving once I locate fish as I do changing spots through little tiny adjustments. And what I mean is something simple as this right here. I just move that bait probably 4, 5, 6 feet. That's a 6-foot rod, so if I gave it the pull of a rod length from down to up, you know, toward over the top of my head, here's what happened. I moved it about 6 feet. And that's just a subtle little adjustment, because here's the deal. When these fish are in these weeds, you got to put that bait in front of them, because a lot of times they're not able to swim around and actually see it. You need to make sure that you're getting it close to them. So a couple things I'll do. One, I do a lot of casts, but I also make those small adjustments and continually move that bait just a little bit, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet, just like that. And it kind of gives you a whole new area and a whole new opportunity to catch a fish that you might have just come right across. Got him. Decent flash. It might be what we're looking for size-wise. We'll see. Seems like a lot of these smaller fish are biting early this morning. This one looks like a decent fish. Oh yeah, this is a keeper. Look at that. That's a good crop. That's a good crop anywhere you go. 9, maybe 9.5. Look at that. It's awesome. Let that guy go. Getting plenty of fish here. Try to stack it up with a few better ones here. There he goes. Got him. Ooh, that looks like a good one. And you can see him flash out there. Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent one. Yeah, this is a better fish. Yup, that is a great fish. That looks like gonna be a great way to wrap up a day if we can get him in here. Awesome. Look at that, that's a great crop. That's so cool when you can see him out there like that. Saw that fish flash up to hit it. Said another one of those great 10-inch fish we've been catching. I tell you, this is awesome. This is a lot of fun, but it's not as simple as just go out and wreck them. When it comes down to it, you really got to dial these fish in and spend a little time looking for those little things. And that's what we did today. I mean, when you look at it, fishing this spot where we got a little bit of weeds, you know, looking for the areas where the water's just a little bit warmer, and then fishing up above the weeds and giving these fish a chance to see it. If they can find it, they'll hit it. That's a great day of crappie fishing. Get out and enjoy some of this. If nothing else, it cures those winter blues, I'll tell you that. That's awesome.